anything.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the times where Cartman faced karma.
Guess he got what he deserved.
Number 30. His sports league plans backfiring. It would take a real sociopath to exploit those with substance use issues as part of an organized sports league. So, naturally, the organization sounds like a perfect fit for Cartman.
Who cares? Lots of people will when I tell them. We made $1,000 in 11 days. You what?
To keep Kyle quiet, Cartman manages to sell him on the idea, gradually corrupting him with ethically questionable business practices. To learn how to get out of compensating the young athletes, Cartman infiltrates a college basketball program dressed as a slave master, believing that the NCAA is a modern-day form of slavery.
Now, when we sell their likeness for video games, how do we get around paying for our slave student athletes then?
Look, there are good reasons why our student athletes cannot be paid, young man.
I ain't arguing. If they got paid, then how'd we make all our money, right?
However, in the end, EA Sports cheats Cartman out of the rights to the league, much the same way Cartman had exploited those in his league. Number 29. Losing his chicken empire. After Kentucky Fried Chicken is banned statewide in Colorado, the fast food becomes part of an underground trade. Through cunning manipulation, Cartman is able to take over the local trade by tattling on the kingpin to his mother.
Billy, your father and I want to talk to you.
Bye-bye, Billy. All right, everyone, listen up. I'm in charge now. Anybody got a problem with that?
Basically, he's Scarface, but with chicken. However, Cartman can't handle the responsibilities of running his illegal KFC empire and ends up consuming too much of the product. In retaliation, Colonel Sanders puts a hit out on Cartman, and he barely escapes with his life.
Oh, crap!
Let that be a lesson to anyone trafficking in illegal drugs. Never get high on your own supply. Number 28. Having a heart attack. Cartman loves unhealthy food way too much. In this episode, his love of junk food takes its toll on him, and he ends up having 2 heart attacks in the cafeteria during lunchtime.
Should be somehow interfering with that. Eric! You dictate what foods I can eat.
The first heart attack came about after learning about the school changing his favorite foods to a healthier option. And the second heart attack came from stress from hearing Wendy talk about climate change.
But stop talking about climate change during lunchtime! Okay, let's sit down. Some of us are trying to just enjoy some simple goddamn barbecue ribs. And oh God, they did it to me again, Butters. Eric! I think this is a big one. Don't let me die. Somebody help!
Normally, we wouldn't shade him, but for Cartman, we're going to make an exception. He's gluttonous, selfish, and willing to hurt others to hoard resources for himself in excess. His heart attack was on him. Number 27. Losing Dickenbows. In this episode, poor gullible Butters gives Cartman his hard-earned money to fund a poorly conceived business idea.
I just give a bit of my paycheck every week to you guys?
And we pay you back as soon as we make our first dollar, Butters. You have my word on it.
Oh, okay.
Cartman plans to turn his house, which is hot dog shaped, into a hot dog stand that is full of spectacular attractions, such as a giant slide and a mermaid grotto. However, Cartman doesn't take the business part seriously, so he just goofs off building fun things with Butters' money. However, Butters takes over operations and manages to sell the company, and in the process, arranges to have Cartman moved into his old home. This devastates Cartman, who comes to love the hot dog house with its fun attractions.
I don't want my old house. I want Dickenbows!
Come on!
No!
If Cartman had taken his business a little more seriously, he might have been able to keep his cool house. Number 26. Getting possessed by Kenny. Hoping to find a ticket to a candy shopping spree, Stan, Kyle, and Cartman visit Kenny's house to see if they can find it.
Where's Kenny?
Boys, Kenny died last December. Don't you remember?
We know he's dead. We mean, where is his body?
His body?
But why?
Because he has the goddamn ticket for the...
Look, we just really miss our friend, and we need to see his remains for closure.
The only problem is that Kenny has passed on and they're not able to find the ticket on him because his parents had him cremated. Cartman mistakes the ashes for chocolate milk mix and drinks Kenny's ashes. As a result, Kenny's soul possesses Cartman, a problem that isn't resolved until a few episodes later.
The spirit's out and it don't have nowhere to go.
Cartman wouldn't have had to go through the whole ordeal if he had been a little more considerate. Number 25, turning himself into a loser. In a rare moment of genuine reflection, Cartman decides to undergo self-improvement to help his future.
All this talk about future selves has made me think maybe I should take better care of myself. I mean, maybe I should think about who I'm going to become.
Immediately after making this decision, Cartman's future self approaches him and tells him about the success he will enjoy because of this pivotal decision. Believing this supposed future version of being a fraud, Cartman announces his plan to sabotage his future to spite this man.
I'm not that stupid. Just for that, I'm gonna spend my whole childhood eating what I want and doing drugs when I want.
The self-defeating move is what both versions of Cartman deserve, since present Cartman is dumb enough to ruin his life for no reason, and his future self was dumb enough to travel into the past and jeopardize his future. Number 24, getting punished for his sins. After discovering the town pastor in a compromising position, Cartman starts a ministry which attracts a following from the children of South Park.
Because unless you give this life to the Lord, that life belongs to Satan. But we cannot worship God in that church where the priest of sin resides, so we will build a new church.
However, as expected, Cartman's intentions don't come from a wholesome urge to spread the word of God. Rather, he admits to Stan and Kyle that he's just in it to make a boatload of money. When Jesus finds out how Cartman was using Christianity to bilk kids out of money, he has Cartman sent off to a horrible place.
I think this time I have to teach you a lesson. I'm sending you somewhere to think about your sins.
You're gonna send me to hell?
No, worse.
If Jesus is a local in your town, he's going to find out if you've perverted his teachings to make a quick buck. Number 23, getting turned into a ginger. One morning, Cartman wakes up to find, to his horror, that his appearance has changed drastically.
Sweetie, what is... Ah!
I'm Ginger!
Oh my God, Eric!
Help me! Help me!
His skin has turned fair, his hair is now red, and his face is covered in freckles, attributes associated with the dreaded ginger. At a doctor's visit, he's told that he has a genetic condition where ginger features showed up toward adolescence. Actually, though, this is all part of an elaborate prank to teach Cartman tolerance. Unfortunately, this plan backfires, as Cartman then becomes bigoted towards those he sees as different from him. Though this bigotry nearly backfires on him too, later in the episode.
You wanted to kill everyone who wasn't Ginger, then that kid in the green hat told you something, and now you don't want to do it all of a sudden. What did he tell you? No, he was just telling me about something funny that happened at school yesterday.
Number 22, getting put in a cage. To fight crime in South Park, Cartman goes under the superhero name of Coon and joins a group he calls Coon and Friends.
Hey, guys. So, what's going on? Go away, Cartman. We kicked you out of Coon and Friends, remember? No, I know. That's cool. I understand. Even though I started it in the secret bases in my house.
However, Cartman is kicked out of the organization because he doesn't demonstrate any qualities of a team player. To get revenge for this rejection and lack of appreciation, he teams up with Cthulhu. You know, the dark creature of Lovecraftian horror.
Justin Bieber and most of his fans have just been massacred.
Yes, Coon and Friends are happy to help. We do not need thanks for our deeds. We do not want gifts. All we want is for people to buy our Coon and Friends t-shirts for $14.95.
This is about as evil as you can get. After the Coon and Cthulhu are defeated, Cartman is put in a cage next to Professor Chaos, the supervillain who is actually Butters. Number 21, getting tricked into donating his kidney. In this episode, Kyle needs a kidney, and unfortunately for him, Cartman is the only match.
There's only one person in South Park with the same blood type as Kyle.
Who?
Cartman refuses to give Kyle the kidney unless he gets $10 million in return. However, Cartman is tricked into giving away one of his kidneys when he blindly signs a form consenting to an operation. He thinks the operation is putting back in a kidney Kyle supposedly stole from him, when in actuality it states that he's agreeing to donate a kidney.
Yeah, looks like Western medicine really did the trick.
Hey, thanks for going through all that to save my life, Stan.
If Cartman had taken time to read the legal document, he wouldn't have fallen for the trap. Number 20, when his theme park plans go south. So your grandmother passed away and left you $1 million in her will. What would you do with it? If you're Eric Cartman, you blow the whole thing on an amusement park exclusively for yourself. Sure, he enjoys it for a short time, but as the park falls into disrepair, his excitement quickly sours. What was supposed to be self-indulgence backfires and becomes a successful park for everyone else. Cartman's distaste for sharing forces him to sell the park, but even then, he can't reap the benefits. After paying back taxes and a lawsuit settlement, Cartman has nothing to show for it but sad memories of his famed Cartman land.
Look, Kyle, Cartman is totally miserable. Even more miserable than he was before because he's had his dream and lost it. It's not fair.
Number 19, when he can't stop telling the truth. Tourette syndrome is an illness related to the central nervous system, which can cause tics in people who have it. One of these tics can be the uncontrollable spouting of obscenities. Thinking this is his golden ticket to say whatever he wants, Cartman begins blasting all kinds of hate speech and other nonsense to everyone around him, all under the guise of having been diagnosed with Tourette's.
And I also just want to say that I'm making this all up.
His foolproof plan falls apart, however, when he suddenly starts randomly spouting embarrassing truths about himself. From secret crushes to tears and bedtime follies, Cartman's plans are foiled by his own insecurities. The lack of a filter causes him more embarrassment from his own truth than the harmful obscenities he's enjoyed spouting.
I need to be going now.
All right, Eric. Well, good luck on Dateline tonight.
Dateline, right. I wet my bear.
Number 18, when he annoys himself. You know it has to be bad if you annoy even yourself.
What are you doing here?
I'm waiting for the new Nintendo Wii to come out.
When does it come out?
3 weeks. Come on.
Too impatient to wait for the Nintendo Wii, Cartman freezes himself and wakes up 540 years into the future. After having to deal with the conflict between futuristic humans and sea otters, he wants nothing more than to undo his entire trip. He manages to call himself in the past in an attempt to stop himself from being frozen.
Listen to me carefully. You need to be patient. What? Who the hell is this? It's me. Me who? Me you.
The joke's on him. His past self doesn't believe him and hangs up. It's made even better when Cartman finally does return to the past, except it's 2 months earlier than when he left. We'd like to think he learned to be more patient, but come on, it's Cartman.
No! No! You sent me back too far! Hey! Do it over!
Number 17, when he can't go to his favorite restaurant. It's the greatest restaurant in the world as far as Cartman is concerned, yet when Kyle opts to take his friends there for his birthday, Cartman is left out in the cold.
Awesome! Casa Bonita! Casa Bonita! Food and fun and a festive atmosphere! Casa Bonita!
Who said I'm inviting you?
Kyle makes it clear to him that given how badly Eric has treated him over the years, he has no interest in bringing him. There's a certain amount of satisfaction in seeing Kyle finally have a moment to put one over on Cartman. Given the fact that he hides Butters in a bomb shelter so he can take his place, we're glad Kyle stood his ground.
But if you leave me down, you take away the biggest part of me. Ooh, girl, baby, please don't go.
We're also glad that Cartman got a week in juvie, even if he didn't learn his lesson.
Well, kid, you made an entire town panic, you lost all your friends, and now you're going to juvenile hall for a week. Was it worth it?
Totally.
Number 16, when he hoards an explosive treasure. While helping Al Gore find Man Bear Pig in the Cave of Winds with the other boys, Cartman stumbles upon what he believes to be a stack of unclaimed treasure. Not wanting to share it with the others, he proceeds to eat as much of it as he can. Horribly bloated, Cartman emerges from the caves with the other boys, insisting he's perfectly fine, all while trying to escape with his intestinal haul.
Hey, you guys! You gotta get me out of here!
However, his body very quickly ejects the treasure in front of everyone, spoiling any chance of cashing in. It's only made better when he finds out the trove was all fake and worth only about $14. Sucks to be your poor stomach, Cartman.
No. No!
Number 15, Kyle versus Cartman. Yet another entry on this list related to Kyle. These two have certainly had their share of arguments, but punches were actually thrown this time.
Everyone's gonna be charitable and give money to your family instead of buying Christmas presents!
Well, correction. One punch is thrown. Through a series of misadventures, Stan, Cartman, Kyle, and Ike end up in Canada on Christmas morning.
It's Christmas. We officially missed it.
Mad for missing out on his holiday gifts, Cartman wants to fight. After a couple of empty threats, Kyle lightly hits him, and Cartman bawls like a baby.
Hey, come on, boys!
It's nowhere near as bad as other fights Cartman has lost, but it certainly was well-deserved. Number 14, when Cartman is Brittany. We've done lists before on how badly poor Butters has been treated in this town, but no one has been worse to the Stotch kid than Cartman.
Greetings, I am the Osimo 4000.
Whoa.
This time around, he puts on a robot costume and pretends to be Butters' new robot friend, hoping to learn something embarrassing he can tease him about later. It all backfires when Eric finds out Butters has a videotape of him singing like Britney Spears.
When Cartman is playing all alone in his backyard, he likes to dress up like Britney Spears and pretend he's her. He sings and dances around with a life-size cutout of Justin Timberlake.
Stotch learns the truth about his robot, and everyone sees the tape. It's not very often that the boys in town get real revenge on Cartman for his antics. So this is a sheer delight.
Come on, Justin, touch my body. Ooh, Justin, yeah, touch my body, you and me.
Number 13, Cartman versus PC Principal. If this list has shown us anything, it's that audiences enjoy both Cartman's antics and seeing him pay for his misdeeds. As season 19 opened, viewers were treated to a new principal at South Park Elementary.
All right, listen up. My name is PC Principal. I don't know about you, but frankly, I'm sick and tired of how minority groups are marginalized in today's society. I'm here because this place is lost in a time warp.
Obsessed with political correctness, he irks the boys enough that they encourage Cartman to take him down, and he gladly obliges. The problem is that Eric has never dealt with the likes of Peter Charles, aka PC Principal. Cartman uses his typical underhanded means to try and frame Charles for inappropriate behavior with the students. That effort is quickly destroyed as Cartman takes a serious beating in the washroom.
Are you purposefully trying to use words that assert your male privilege?
Ironically, the assault has nothing to do with his accusations and more about his use of language. Number 12, when he's disciplined. He spit in a nanny's mouth and tormented another so much, she ended up in a mental health hospital.
I'm afraid Super Nanny is in a deep state of mental psychosis.
What do you mean?
I mean, she spends most of her time sobbing.
How is Cartman's mom ever going to get him under control? The answer? Treat him like a dog. Famed dog trainer Cesar Millan manages to turn Cartman into a respectable, decent kid by using the same methods he uses on bad-behaved canines.
Don't look at him, just look straight ahead and he'll run out of energy soon.
Although it doesn't last, thanks to Cartman's mom, it's both satisfying and disturbing to see Eric as such a well-adjusted kid. Is it weird that we prefer him being the sociopath he is?
Could I perhaps have 2 Mega Rangers?
Yes, darling. You can have whatever you want.
Number 11, Tolkien and Butters versus Cartman. When Cartman disagrees with Kyle about the direction of their band Moop, Eric makes a bet about who can make a platinum album first. What follows is Cartman's attempt to capitalize on the Christian rock genre. He ropes both Butters and Tolkien into forming Faith Plus One and producing a CD filled with religion-inspired lyrics.
I promise I'll be good to you and keep you warm at night.
Jesus, 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 why don't we just shut off the light?
Their success becomes marred when Cartman believes the band will be awarded a platinum album, only to discover Christian acts can only receive myrrh records.
Do you mean to tell me I can never get a platinum album with a Christian rock band?
No, but you can go double myrrh.
As he yells religious obscenities to a crowd of thousands who came out to see the band play, Tolkien attacks him in a fit of rage. As Cartman lays on the stage, Butter flips him off, leaving Cartman to wallow in defeat. Number 10, when he's kidnapped by a criminal. Like other entries on this list, here we find Cartman using deceit to gain attention from others. This time, he's pretending to be psychic and has convinced law enforcement of his new abilities. Instead of looking at hard evidence, the cops go purely on Cartman's advice, leaving a real threat to the town. Eric's ruse falls apart when the real culprit kidnaps him out of anger.
Ma'am, there's some homeless guy here. Make him go away.
He's upset that Cartman has pinned his criminal activities on others in town, robbing him of his glory. It's a far darker comeuppance than many of the others, but still gives viewers hope that maybe this will be Cartman's last lie. Spoiler alert, it wasn't.
I've learned my lesson. Please, I don't want to have to use my psychic mind missile on you.
Number 9, when he loses in the Special Olympics. Timmy and Jimmy are going all in for the Special Olympics. While Jimmy faces his own demons about competing, Cartman is convinced he can pretend to have a disability just so he can enter and win the cash prize.
At the end of the Special Olympics, a grand champion special athlete is crowned and given a cash prize of $1,000.
It's an incredibly offensive idea, but coming from Eric, it's more status quo than anything. Expecting to be a sure thing, Cartman never considers that you actually do need to have talent.
What the hell?
Eric loses in every event simply because he's out of shape and was never prepared to tackle a competition like this. It's his sheer ignorance of all things that keeps the $1,000 prize away from him. Maybe next time, try training for it, Eric.
Who came in very last? Eric Cartman.
Ah, screw you, hippies!
Number 8, when he goes to jail.
What the hell is a hate crime?
If the history of this show has shown us anything, it's that Cartman plows through life never once considering the consequences of his actions. Going back as far as Season 4's Cartman's Silly Hate Crime 2000, we catch him destroying the sticks and stones idiom as he tosses a rock straight at Tolkien's head. What seems like a playground fight turns truly dark as Eric's assault is perceived as an attack on African Americans. In retaliation, they throw the figurative book at him, and Cartman lands in jail. The sheer look of terror on Eric's face as he approaches the prison is priceless. We must say it is refreshing to see him confronted with some type of punishment for his actions.
Shut up, you guys, it's not funny!
Number 7, when he's ignored. Seriously, who eats all the skin off the KFC chicken your friend's mom bought for all of you? As revenge, all the boys, save for Butters, decide to completely ignore him.
Hey, I hate Cartman too. Can I ignore him with you? Yeah, me too. Yeah, screw him. Ugh. I never realized ignoring him was an option.
Given that he now thinks he's dead, we wonder if this is where the term ghosting came from.
What is that kid doing?
I don't know, just ignore him.
All jokes aside, this entry is unique in that it's a perfect form of punishment for a kid who's overly selfish. Cartman's the kid who always wants the attention and goes to extreme lengths to get it.
Butters. Ah! Don't worry, Butters. I'm gonna get you out of here.
Please leave me alone, Eric.
It's incredibly satisfying to watch him jump through all these hoops in hopes of being redeemed. Number 6, when he's unhoused.
Man, poor Cartman.
Perhaps one of the saddest examples of Cartman getting what he deserved was shown in the South Park Post-COVID, The Return of COVID special that aired during Season 24. Both this special and its predecessor showed the life of the boys 40 years in the future after having made poor decisions around their treatment of others during the pandemic. After they travel back in time to correct their mistakes, we get a glimpse into how Cartman's life really turned out. After all his terrible antics from his youth, he ultimately ended up with no home, suffering from alcohol problems and raging at the world for being wronged. His fate is both sad and somewhat deserving, given everything he's done.
It's so sad he never did anything with his life.
Number 5. When God gets revenge. You know you've done something horribly wrong when God decides to strike you down with a bolt of lightning.
Well, good going, Mom. You've completely screwed me over.
After spending much of this episode accusing his mother of inappropriate behavior, Cartman takes his anger out on God. Yelling at the sky in front of a Best Buy, every viewer watching is just hoping something will happen to give this kid a taste of his own medicine.
Why did you do this to me, God? Next time you're gonna get my hopes up, could you please take me to a grease monkey?
So, when the shot does come down and Eric ends up in the hospital, audiences are left smiling knowing justice was served and Cartman's paying a price for being so rude. Number 4. When he's probed by aliens. Knowing what we know about Eric Cartman, it's not implausible that his alien encounter in the pilot was indeed a form of punishment.
Ah, shut up, you guys. You're just trying to make me scared, and it's not working.
We get a few glimpses of what happened to him and later witness an explosive growth from his behind. At this point, fans didn't know him or his antics, so it was easy to see his entire ordeal as just funny. Looking back at it now, it seems somewhat appropriate that the meanest kid in town would end up being the one abducted and experimented on by aliens.
I had this crazy nightmare last night.
Really? What about?
Well, I was standing out in a field, and I had this huge satellite dish sticking out of my butt.
Number 3. Cartman's photo. After taking a photograph of Butters in a compromising position, Cartman mistakenly believes he can use the picture to misrepresent Butters' sexual orientation. This quickly backfires as he learns that others may believe it depicts Eric's own feelings instead.
I gotta find Butters.
Idiot.
When Cartman misplaces the image, he mistakenly believes Kyle has stolen it with the intent of showing it to everyone to embarrass Eric. Thinking he's beaten him to the punch, he includes his photo in a slideshow for a school project.
Ew! Dude.
When Mr. Mackey reports that Cartman's mom found the picture, he very quickly realizes he just went to extreme lengths to embarrass himself. It's a perfect example of Eric's antics backfiring with hilarious results. Number 2. Tenorman's Revenge. When Cartman fed Scott Tenorman his parents in Season 5, we learned how truly dark and disturbing Eric is.
Oh, let me taste your tears, Scott. Your tears are so yummy and sweet.
Everything that happened later was built upon the idea that this is a kid who will stop at nothing to get revenge. However, it looks like it may have run in the family.
Eric Cartman. I've waited a long time for this.
In Season 14, we learned Scott was actually Cartman's half-brother, and in taking his rage out on him, Eric inadvertently offed his own dad. We love how the show found a way to take Cartman's darkest moment and turn it on him.
You killed your own father, and then you fed him to your half-brother!
No! No!
This may not be our number 1 entry, but it's certainly the most psychological comeuppance he's seen.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Wendy versus Cartman. She may have been Stan's girlfriend, but that certainly never stopped Cartman from taking every opportunity to mock her.
Will somebody do something? Every week he gets worse and nobody does anything.
Eric, stop being offensive.
I'm just trying to engage Wendy in a constructive dialogue about breast cancer awareness, Mr. Garrison.
No, you aren't!
Wendy, you need to calm down.
So it comes as a bit of a surprise how freaked out he gets when Wendy finally challenges him to a fight after school. It's clear from Eric's desperate efforts to get out of it that he knows it's not going to end well.
The thing is, I totally said I was sorry, but she still wants to beat me up.
Cartman's done a lot of terrible things by this point in the show, so it's both the school kids and viewers who want to see him finally get punished. Wendy delivers punch after punch until he finally goes down. It certainly isn't elegant or civilized, but for this oversized meanie, it's exactly what he deserved. What's one time you think Cartman got too harsh a punishment? Let us know in the comments.
Oh, this has gone from weak to super weak. Things cannot get any more weak for me.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.